Hi, I'm Deb Bolin and I work with the Seed Library at Pickle Public Library. I'd like to talk to you today about seed saving. Seed saving is a great practice to have. It saves you a ton of money next year when you go to buy seeds. Unless you want to plant something new, you probably won't need to. I took the seed library inventory and researched how to properly remove the seeds from each plant. The following is the procedures of collecting seeds. Let okra dry on the plant, and when the pods have dried, remove and break open the pods and dump the seeds. After artichoke flowers and dries, pull out the seeds and remove the silk from the seed. Beans, peas, and wild sienna have pods that dry on the vine. Once pods have dried completely, remove the seeds from the pods. Carrots grow for 1 full year. Leave the carrot in the ground all winter, making sure that you mulch it well for overwintering. When carrots start to grow in the second year, they will flower and seed. Beets also take 2 growing years. Plant in the fall, 1 month before it's to frost. It will flower in the second year. Let the seeds dry on the plants when they start to turn brown, then take them off before it rains. Kohlrabi plants will get seed pods. Once the pods dry on the plant, remove the pods from the plant. Save 1 pak choi plant and it will get pods. Once the pods dry, remove them from the plant and pop out the seeds. Broccoli and cauliflower. Remove the main head off of the plant, leaving the bottom of the plant there. It will get sprouts and flowers that will grow into seed pods. Remove the seeds and dry. Cabbage is also a 2-year plant. Remove the cabbage head, leaving the plant to overwinter. Mulch well. In the next year, the plant will flower and produce pods with seeds. Let them dry and remove the pods and harvest the seeds. Fennel. Once the plant flowers and starts to dry, cut off the flower heads and bundle them in a paper bag. The seeds will drop into the paper bag. One other thing I wanted to explain with that a little bit is a lot of the books that I had told you to use string. However, I found that when using rubber bands, the rubber bands actually shrink to the plant as the plant is drying. They're less likely to fall out. For example, you would put your fennel heads up in the paper bag, put the rubber band around the bag, and then I use a paper clip to hang it on a string. Harvest celery stalks. Just don't remove the central stalk. Let it in the garden until they flower and dry. Bend the flower stalk into a paper bag and shake the seeds off. Corn must be 1,000 feet from any other variety of corn to use as seed corn because of cross-pollination. Look for stalks that have 2 ears on each stalk and has a decent height to it. The tassels will be brown and drying, but make sure there are no bugs on the corn. Let it dry out completely and store the seeds in a paper bag. Hoppy red dye armrath. When the plant gets red top on it, you can use a bowl to remove seeds from the red plumes. Run fingers through the red tops and the seeds will drop into the bowl. Gently blow across the red plumes that are in the bowl to get the flower portions out from the black seeds. Leave cucumbers on the vine until they have yellowed for a week. Cut them open, clean, and wash off the seeds and let dry. Bachelor buttons, when the flower heads dry, cut off and take the seed pod apart, dry the seeds. When the flower turns brown on blue salvia, they get seed pods on the back. To release the seeds from the back, I ran my fingers down the stems and then just gently rub them between my fingers to get the debris off of the seed. Coxcomb seeds are in the red comb of the plant. Scrape your fingers along the stem to get the seeds to fall off. They're little black seeds. After removing the seeds, you can still use the flower heads for arrangements if you wish. Cosmos and asters, dead head and save heads for seeds. Once the flower head has the seed pod on top, remove and dry. Black-eyed Susan, pansies, rose mallow, gloriosa daisies, and most other varieties of daisies, and Johnny jump-ups. Once the flowers have died, remove the seed heads and remove and dry the seeds further. Hollyhocks wait until the seeds have set and rotted. They will start out a white color and turn black. Allow them to dry before removing debris from the seed. Foxglove usually takes 2 years to bloom. Dry out the stems on the plant and cut off the dried stems. Put them in a paper bag. Once they have dried completely, you can remove the seeds easily. Important information on foxglove seeds. They are poisonous, so it's a good thing to keep these out of reach of children. Sunflower seeds are in the flower head. Once the leaves have started to brown, I cut the flower heads off and remove the outside debris from the head of the flower. I just brush it off with my hands. I usually put a big rubber band on the back of it and hang it up to dry with a string and a paper clip. Marigolds are super easy. While you're deadheading, the seeds pull right out of those flower petals. Once the morning glory flower has dried, there will be seed pods. You remove those and dry thoroughly. Yucca plants get a stem that will come up from the center of the plant. Once the pods are dry, you remove the seed and store in paper. Hyssop seeds are in the seed heads. Let them dry completely. Then use your fingers to brush the seeds out. Bee balm heads are in the flower heads. Remove the seed heads before they get completely dry. Remove the seeds from the pod by brushing them and collecting the seeds after drying. You tape the seed head over a colander that has small holes. The seeds are very small, so they should fall through. After the borage plant has bloomed and when they start to turn brown, the seed pod will develop. Cut off the seed pod from the plant when it's a deep brown coffee color. Remove seeds by pulling back gently on the petals until the seed falls. Put a bowl under the pod to collect. Caraway and oregano seeds are developed on the plant. They can be rubbed between your fingers to release the seeds while still on the plant by catching them in a paper bag or bowl. Flowering herb calendula seeds are in the flower heads. Leave the flower heads on the plant to completely dry. Once dry, brush the seed head with your fingers lightly. You will see a half-moon shaped seeds growing on the pods. Brush over the seed heads with your fingers lightly. They should fall easily if they're ready to harvest. If they do not come out easily, wait for them to dry a little longer. Chicory seeds are in the flower heads once they've dried. Pull off the leaves and inside that area are the seeds. They are tiny off-white seeds. Chives and garlic chives are in the flower heads. Remove the flower heads and hang them up in a paper bag to catch the seeds. Once they dry, they will pop open. Cilantro, dill, chamomile, lovage, rattlesnake master. When your plant is at the end of its life cycle, it will flower, and shortly after that will seed. Let the seeds form on the flower head, and when the flower turns brown, cut them off. Let them dry completely. They will drop off easily if you rub across them. Only grow one variety of cilantro as they will cross-pollinate. Different varieties need to stay a mile away from each other to not cross-pollinate. Let the mature cumin and parsley plant flower, then seeds form on pods. Cut them off and let those dry. Once your lemon balm plant has flowered and started to die back, collect in a paper bag, continuing to let dry. When it has dried well, go down the stem and harvest the seeds. Sage, salad, burnet, and summer savory will get seed heads when the flowers are browning and leaves are turning yellow. Cut off seed spikes and put in paper bag to dry. Once the flower spikes have dried completely, remove the seeds from pods. Cantaloupe, melons, pumpkins, and ornamental gourds. You cut open when ripe and scoop seed into a colander, then rinse off all the stickiness. After you put the seeds in a cup filled with water, the bad seeds will float. You want to discard the bad seeds. Put the other seeds through the strainer to get the water off and place on a paper towel or a paper plate to absorb the moisture. Make sure you are turning them every 24 hours so they don't stick on the paper. Watermelon seeds are collected similar, only they're throughout the fruit. You still wash them off, put them on a paper towel or a dry. Put them on a paper towel or a paper plate. Blue grama Blue grama grass is loved by butterflies and moth. The seed comes up in the seed head. It looks like eyelashes. Remove the seed stems and dry completely. Seeds should fall off the head, or you can use your fingers to gently remove. Lettuce usually seeds in the mid to late summer, usually once it's getting hot. It'll bring up a large spike, and then it starts to get fluff on it. That's when you want to take it off. I usually shake everything into a container and then just separate the seeds from the fluff. On the cone flowers and the cup plants, you wait until it has flowered and the petals are falling off. You cut it off and let it dry. Remove the seed heads from the seed head. Remove the seeds from the seed head. Remove the spikes of Culver's root, northern sea oaks, and obedient plant when they have turned brown and place in a paper bag for a few weeks. Remove seeds from seed pods when dry. All goldenrods and asters are harvested when seed gets fuzzy. Remove them promptly to a paper bag and rub between your fingers to release the seed. The mint and wild quinine seeds are in the flower heads. Remove them before they're completely dry. The seeds will remove the seeds by brushing the pod. Once they're dry, break open in a colander over a plate or bowl to catch it. Evening primrose and plains coreopsis will have seed pods in late August. And when they are 50% dry, you remove those pods. Ironwood seeds are the white fluffy part inside of a hardened flowered petals. After the plant has gone to seed, you simply but carefully peel back the hardened outside cover of the flower head to expose the seeds to harvest. It's almost like a nut covering, so be careful. It's very sharp. Milkweed seeds are in the pods on the plants. You remove the pods just prior to them opening. Separate the silk from the seeds. Radish seeds are in the pod that comes up out of the radishes when they've started to brown. Remove and slit open one at a time to remove the seeds. Remove the seed pods one at a time to slit open and remove the seeds. Wing stem after flowers fade, spiky seed heads will form. Gloves may be necessary to handle them. They should be gathered before they begin to crumble and drop their seeds. Cut the seed heads and spread them out to dry away from direct sun. Separate the seeds from the husk. Onion and leeks will flower and will get seed pods on them. Once the flower heads get brown, harvest the seeds. Cut the heads off, toss them into a paper bag. Harvest peppers when they are on their final color. They will be a little leathery. You remove the seeds and dry on a paper plate or paper towel. Eggplants, zucchini, squash are harvested by leaving fruit on the vine until they have over-ripened but not rotten. Cut into them down the middle and use a spoon to scrape the seeds into a bowl of water to clean off. Strain off water and clean until done. Dry on paper plates or a paper towel. Remove turnip and rutabaga from the ground approximately 5 or more plants. Leave the bottom roots on and cut off the top, leaving a half of the green. Save them in the crisper drawer in your refrigerator. Plant the turnips in the spring. They will go to seed and are like pea pods. Once the pods start to brown and get crispy before opening, remove and store in paper bag. Spinach, Swiss chard, ruby red orach seeds, once the plant bolts, will flower and then they will pollinate themselves. The female plant will get seed. Rub off the seeds with your fingers. Kale is left in the garden to overwinter in a hoop house, covering or something similar to that. Then process it like spinach or chard. Tomatoes let ripen. You remove the seeds from the tomato, separating the seeds from the plant and putting them in a ball jar. I fill the ball jar about 3/4 full of water. So I'll put a couple inches of tomato seeds, then fill it up 3/4 of the weight and set it to the side of the kitchen. I will stir it daily for about 3 days. On the 3rd day, it will start to get an odor to it and it will get a white film across the top. What you're actually doing is removing the white film from the tomatoes so it will sprout. It's a protective covering that the tomatoes have to keep it from sprouting in the tomato. On all the seeds you save, you must let every seed dry completely before you store it. If you don't do that, it will definitely mildew or mold and they will be no good. So please make sure when you are drying them, it's so much work, make sure you go the extra mile and make sure they're completely dry before you put them away. And I always like to store them in something that breathes somewhat like a paper envelope or something like that. Please like and follow us at the Pickle Public Library. My next program will be about planning for next year. Until then, happy gardening.